have to make a commitment in the Black community that food is essential to your well-being, and choose the correct food. And it doesn't have to be that expensive at all, really. I mean, you look at the sales like everything else, and you do things that are healthy for your body.
As we're eating things that are different, it incorporates different vitamins, different minerals into our bodies that can nourish us and keep us healthy, away from the diseases that you mentioned before with the hypertension and the high blood pressure. And if we make it interesting, I think that it will be more susceptible to people.
The exposure is important, because if you're not exposed to something, most often you won't eat it. I know my children only eat what their mother prepared for them. You know, my wife never cooked green peas. My children don't eat green peas. She didn't like them. She don't care if they don't never get one.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So this is FLIK's Entrepreneurial Council. We're all here to talk to you today about Black History Month, which is an exciting opportunity for us. The evolution of Southern comfort food to healthy comfort food. And so this is intended to be a fun topic. The reason that we came up with it was that we wanted to avoid people treating Black History Month like it's all fried chicken. So we kept this topic to the last week, because we wanted to take the conversation that we just had about healthy food and apply it to food that is, often considered unhealthy. But how can we continue to experience the very rich culture of Southern food without it being something that is unhealthy for us? And Chef Joe, I loved your story about sweet tea not being a thing that we should all have in our diets all the time. I'm from South Georgia as well. So sweet tea is something that I drank every single day until I moved to the West Coast. And I get that. Like, that is one of my favorite treats that you could only have once in a while. But so we wanted to just open it up to you, Chef Joe, and others to talk about the influence of Edna Lewis and having gardens in your backyard, being a Southern chef.
Well, what Edna was truly a Southern cook, and that's what she was. In all her years, you never heard Edna say she was a soul food cook. She didn't know what soul food was. She was cooking Southern food from the time she was 12 or 13 years old. So, in one thing, we must understand the difference between soul food and Southern food. And so the foundation of Southern cooking is the food of the South. Soul food is a derivative of that. But soul food came along with soul music, Soul Train, and all those other things of the 60s. But when we talk about food, Edna would be here. She would tell you she didn't cook no greasy greens. She'd use the fat back, skim the green, to skim all the fat off the pot before she put the greens in. So it was one of those things that some of this food of the South that's been a part of our heritage, kind of got a bad rap. Now, I don't want you to think that if you eat too much of anything, it's not good for you. So, but there's some nutritionists that made their living condemning Southern food. Don't eat ham, because smoked turkey is better for you. It don't taste the same. I don't care what they say. But you just do all things in moderation. Ain't nobody supposed to eat fried chicken 3 times a day, 7 days a week. You ain't supposed to eat a pound of bacon at every breakfast meal, or a pound of sausage at every meal. Some meals you don't need grits or potatoes. But just, I gotta have potatoes because I can afford it every meal, or I gotta have grits. Some of this stuff we eat is only because we can, not because we have to. So I'm back to moderation in all things.
And that's what I think is important. that we need to stress to people is moderation.
Yeah, moderation. But ham, I mean, I know people who tell me their blood pressure's high, they stop eating pork. Well, if that works for you, don't eat it. But I love a good pork chop. I'm going to eat one once in a while. I could have never been a Muslim, and I don't have nothing against Muslim, but I'm going to eat a Bigfoot.
We just connected over hog balls. I mean, it reminds me of what you said earlier, that food is a connector, but I wouldn't have known that about you, and now we have something in common. So no, but in moderation, to your point, that is a once a year thing for me, but in moderation, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to do that every day. It's just not wisdom. It's not wise to do it every day. So learn to eat right, eat in moderation, and we'll all be better off.
And I think the only thing with that is that I just think that we have to continue to drive that home to our people, and definitely to our associates and our friends and our loved ones, is that moderation. You don't have to eat it every single day, and you can make some adaptations to, if you want fried chicken, maybe try it another way. And as much as I tease and mess with my mother-in-law, she's in her 80s and she loves to cook. And I used to always tell her, I said, if you make chicken salad, if you make it with that low-fat mayonnaise, don't bring it in my house. She's healthy.
Yeah, but she's doing that now because she ate a lot of regular mayonnaise early.
Right. But I think if you just do it in moderation, and you have to know how to switch up your menu. You don't have to, but like you said, and I think that's one of the things that we did on before with the team, is that we put together a menu that says, okay, here's some healthy stuff, the foods that you're familiar with. And I think that's another big piece, familiarity.
Let me say this, then I'm going to stop. But my mother was a blessing. She lived to be 93. And I love my mother's cooking. But I remember coming home and saying, Mama, this don't taste like what you used to cook. And all of a sudden, I'm going to the kitchen with her. She using a salt substitute.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody told her to stay away from salt. And I'm wondering why nothing she cooked don't taste like I want to eat it. So you have to learn to, there's nothing wrong with eating less salt. But when you start using other stuff, that changed the taste of the food. Well, maybe for them it worked because they wouldn't eat it at all. Because it tastes so bad, they just wouldn't eat it. But I like to eat. Like I told you in the beginning, I learned to eat before I learned how to cook. And I still like to eat. But the food got to taste good.
Yeah.
Jeff, I wanted to make a connection that you made at the beginning of the podcast with how most American cuisine started from what we now call Southern cooking, and that there was an organized effort to divide food into regional cuisines. And now we are here where some food is considered luxury food and some food is considered street food. I think a lot of us enjoy foods that make us feel connected to our families and connected to something. And though today I learned that this is the genesis of, where Southern food and regional food came from, I don't know that most people understand that they have a connection to food as it was originally made and prepared in America. And they don't have to attach themselves strictly to grits, strictly to, me. I'm from Jamaica, so it's oxtails and rice and peas all day for me.
I love it.
You understand what I'm saying? So I feel comforted by those things that are a part of my culture. But when we learn more, as you just taught us, all of this is a part of our culture. So we can embrace all of the food as, American food and soul food and Southern, and the foods that are from our origins. So it doesn't need to be something that you're just eating fatty foods or you're just eating fried chicken. It's all of the food, is accessible to you as an American or as someone who enjoys a specific type of food. That just opened my mind up to so many possibilities. And I just thank you so much. That was an education for me.
The food is clearly something that we have to take pride in.
Yeah.
It's part of our heritage and culture. I was in Montego Bay for 6 months. I eat oxtails every day because I just love oxtails. And rice and peas and some fried plantains.
Yes.
If you fix it, I'll be at your house tomorrow. But
you gotta put some cabbage slaw in there too to make it nice.
Yeah, you're right. But this thing about food, it's I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. When people get this was hard work and low pay. So when it was domestic work, there were nobody running to be chefs. Once they made it a profession and the wages start going up, then it was either doctors giving their children money or having the money to open up restaurants so their son or daughter could own a restaurant. But when that happened, we got pigeonholed into soul food because nobody gonna give you $4 million to go open a soul food restaurant.
Right.
And so, you just have to not let anybody have you deny your heritage. I've been cooking. People come to my cooking school and I put a pot of green beans on. First thing I do is throw a couple pieces of fat back in the pot and boil it by itself because that's what my mother did. And when they see me do it, because I'm doing all this in front of them, they say, "What's that?" I say, "Fat back." They say, "Oh, I want none." I say, "I was just like you." I come home, look at my mother's pot, say, "What's that?" She said, "Fat back." I say, "I don't want none of that." She just say, after a while, I come back later, them green beans look good. And I'd eat all I could. But it's a reality that, we have to prepare food as health consciously as we can, but as authentically as we can, and eat in moderation. That's all I can say.
Spot on.
Perfect.
Well said.
That's it. That's all.
That's it.
I know, that's a mic drop moment. I'm like,
I know, it's perfect. Thank you so much, Chef. Thank you, everybody. This has been
Thank you for having me.
life-giving.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Chef. Joe Randall. Thank you, LaShawn. We'll catch up.